And tonight, let's talk about how foreigners are treated in the Philippines. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. If there's a long end of the stick, we get it most of the time. Blah! First, let's talk about just walking around in public. I can't tell you the number of times that I've gotten the benefit of the doubt for multiple reasons. Sometimes as a foreigner in the Philippines, you get the benefit of the doubt because sometimes people just don't want to English at you. I'm not even kidding. At one point, I walked up to an officer while I was at a mall and I asked, "Hey, where's the nearest trash can?" And rather than taking the time that it would take to explain that in English, the officer just took my trash, which was awesome, but made me feel kind of weird. As somebody who's been a smoker in this country, I can't help but admit that I've gotten the benefit of the doubt way too many times there. A lot of the times here at malls, at the entrances and exits, someone will check your bags to look for, I don't know, bombs or guns or something? I have to claim a little bit of ignorance because nobody's ever found anything in my bags that I shouldn't have, so I don't really know exactly what it is they're looking for. But I will say that I have been waved through simply because white guy. I also get this feeling that when they check my bags, they don't look as hard through my bags as they do through some other people's. It's not all roses though, because sometimes when I go out into less populated areas who aren't really used to seeing white people as much, sometimes I get some really strange looks. There's also this thing where sometimes people will call you Joe because they're used to dealing with like military men and they see them as like G.I. Joe. So I don't know if they think all of our names are Joe or we just like that name. I don't know. There's also this weird thing where sometimes people will throw all the English that they know at you. They'll say, "Hello sir, how are you? I'm good. Have a good day. Bye, see you." So now let's talk about how foreigners are treated at work. So let me go ahead and throw this in here that this wasn't so much the case at my place of employment, but it's kind of an amalgamation of what I've been told, what I've seen at other companies, things like that. Let's face it, foreigners a lot of times come here to the Philippines and expect a higher standard of living similar to what they're comfortable with from back home. This can sometimes mean that two people doing very similar jobs here in the Philippines can end up getting paid very differently. A foreigner doing the same job could make more than the local counterpart. Foreigners are subjected sometimes to things that could be seen as like microaggressions. I'm not a big fan of the term microaggressions, but it's probably the best way I can describe somebody walking up to you and going, "So you're white. You like bread, right?" And I'm not kidding, that's something I've gotten way too many times. As well as being placed in groups with other foreigners, just assuming that, hey, you're from America, you'll get along with this other American great. I will have you know I have multiple reasons for not liking that other American and their political beliefs and religious whatnots. While we're on the subject of work, let me explain something. In general, the Philippines has a lot of holidays, and that's awesome in part, except for as a foreigner here in the Philippines, you probably won't get all of those off because they're not your holidays. So let's talk about foreigner rates. Sometimes these foreigner rates actually work in your favor and they're seen as a way to sort of jumpstart tourism. However, most of the time, not really. You can pretty much assume anywhere that the price isn't written down, they're gonna charge you more because you're a foreigner. This also means that you get some play with the price. You can pretty much assume if the price isn't written down somewhere, that you may be charged more simply because you're a foreigner. This also gives you the ability to haggle if you know what you're doing and if you kind of understand the local economy, but be careful. Oh, and taxis. Taxis are like the worst. Many taxis will ask you to pay, let's say, either a fixed price to get you to a destination or a certain fixed price plus whatever the meter says. Never pay the fixed price. Not only are they not legally allowed to do this, but it's gonna end up being 3 to 4 times what you would have paid with the meter. Sometimes it does make sense to incentivize a taxi driver to go to a location that they normally wouldn't, or whatever, by paying, let's say, 50 or 100 peso on the high side, plus whatever the meter says, but definitely don't pay a fixed price. Socially speaking, Filipinos love foreigners. Maybe not all foreigners, because I can't speak for everybody, but I can say my experience as an American here has been super positive. Everybody absolutely loves to hear stories about how long I've been here, what I've done since I got here, and how much I'm enjoying their country. Sometimes, if you listen really carefully, you'll hear that people are trying to put on an Americanized accent just for you. I've always appreciated the effort, but it's totally not necessary, in my case at least. A lot of times people will assume that you are rich. You got money, 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 money. Maybe not rich, but when you're out and about, you're buying something, they assume that you are sort of a person with some disposable income. Oh, yeah, there's also the stereotype that foreigners love adobo. I mean, I can't say much because I do love adobo, but not all of us. Hashtag not all expats. And this is something that's hard for me to talk about because it just is. Some people may assume that you're a sex tourist. Sadly, that is a thing here. There are red light districts, there are massage parlors. In an economically depressed area, these places tend to thrive. So if you're an American watching this video before you come to the Philippines, just do me a favor and don't be that guy. That might be kind of sexist, or girl. People here in the Philippines may be increasingly nice to you. Oh, heaven forbid they be nice. Hospitality is one of those things here in the Philippines that they pride themselves on. They know you're here to enjoy the fruits of their country, sometimes metaphorically, sometimes literally. Mangoes. And occasionally people will bend the rules for you. This can really take a lot of different forms, but probably the best example I can give. Sometimes you'll ask help from a counter or something like that, and rather than explaining to you step 1 through 12, they will guide you through it, or sometimes even do it for you. They also know that when you go back home, you will share that knowledge of just how awesome it is here with your friends and your family. So if you catch somebody being extra nice to you as an expat, say thank you. So that's everything I can think of. Let me know in the comment section down below what you've heard about being a foreigner in the Philippines, or what you've experienced being a foreigner in the Philippines, or what you've experienced being a local here in the Philippines, or as an overseas Filipino worker, not in the No matter what walk of life you come from, I want to hear from you about your experiences on this topic, because I want everyone to be able to look through the comments of this video and get something before they come here and enjoy this wonderful country. Till next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all those things that make me love my job. Also, be awesome to yourself and amazing to each other. Bye!
Thank you so much for joining me on today's story on my cuento. Be sure to check out one or more of the things on screen now that'll lead you to even more stuff, because it's awesome. Alright, next vlog.